I got infected in 1990. I knew about my HIV status. I could have been infected much earlier, maybe the 80s, when HIV was highly stigmatized in this country. Hi, how are you today? It was not very easy at that particular time, considering that this was a new disease, and the messages that we used to see on billboards was that when you get HIV, this is equals to death. And it was purported that it was a disease for those people who are promiscuous. And therefore, for anybody who was diagnosed at that particular time, it was not easy to come out and share. Every time I opened my TV and they were talking about HIV, I would switch off. Or if I saw any publication with HIV, I would just not look at it, because the information that they gave was very negative. And it was HIV is equal to death, the victims, those people, you know, that kind of language that really makes you feel that you are not part and parcel of the community. But I think we also worked with the media after that for a very long time, and they have become friendly. We work with them very closely. They have the information. Even for the doctors, they were learning that how do we deal with this disease. So and I think they used to stigmatize people a lot, people with HIV. I remember in some hospitals they actually used to label your file with, I will not mention which hospital, but I think the first hospital that I used to attend, my file was labeled with a certain color, which is different from other files. And one time I went for a surgery, and I think the nurse wore like 2 gloves. And I told them, I don't think it's necessary for you to have 2. Because 1 is enough, and in any case, if I'm taking medication, the chances that I will even infect my sexual partner is very minimal. So even you, it's the same. But I want to say that now the doctors it's just like any other disease. So it's different. They don't stigmatize us anymore. Even for the government, this was a new disease that had just come in. So even them, they didn't have the information. But it was the responsibility of us, people living with HIV, to ensure that actually this information gets to the relevant authorities. And right now, I'm very glad that we are working very closely with the government and all other relevant stakeholders who are working in HIV. I must say that meeting with other women who are positive and other persons who are infected actually encouraged me. And I think the turning point for me was when I attended a meeting for HIV positive women in Amsterdam. And we were about 54 women infected with the virus from all over the world. And we had about 24 from Africa. What made me come out was the fact that I was seeing people dying of HIV, and yet I had traveled far and wide and known that actually HIV/AIDS is not equals to death, and that once you know your HIV status, there's something you can do about it. I saw that it was necessary that at least some of us must come out and talk about it and help those others who were not able to come out easily and were still dying, or were still infecting their partners, or were still giving birth to children who are infected with the virus. For me, it was not easy even to disclose to my children, because when I got infected, when I knew about my status, they were very young. This book is about my journey with HIV, how I conquered HIV, and together with other women. I live positively. It does not really bother me. I do my work normally. I have the information. It's really a process. from the time when you're diagnosed to the time that you accept. Around 1990, per month, for the month, medicine for the month was about 120,000. I lived positively. I just took care of my diet. I made sure I see a doctor whenever I got sick, until 2004 when I got TB, and my CD4 count went down. So after I finished my TB medication, then is when I started ARVs. So other people who were not able to get the ARVs actually have died. I have seen so many of my friends die. I have seen people who are diagnosed like 6 months down the line, they are already dead. It's because sometimes they do not accept. But I think acceptance for me is something very, very key. It is what you think about it in your mind that keeps you going. Because if you ask me how have I managed to live with the virus for over 20 years, and other people come and go, I have no explanation. This was when I had TB. You can see the difference, how different it is. So I'm a different person now. When I went to this meeting in Amsterdam in 1992, I found out that the people in the West were already organized and they had support groups that they were supporting each other. So for me, it was a way of also supporting myself to support other people. So I thought I would come back and start a support group for women. I founded WOFAC with other women. In 1994, I think WOFAC is now 20 years old, and it has really impacted positively on our women in this country. I can say that we have been able to ensure that women give birth to children who are negative. We have sent children who are orphans to school. Even men have been able to come to our support groups, and they have also moved on with their lives. We have created income-generating activities for our members so that they move on with their work, because sometimes when you are HIV positive, sometimes you are not able to get a job. So we have created jobs for these people to ensure that they become small business people so that they can be able to take care of their families, take their children to school. Having been the first chair of the National Empowerment Network of people living with HIV, we actually lobbied the government to get us drugs free for everybody in Kenya. And I think this was a turning point for us because it happened, and so far many people have been able to live long with the virus. Donor funding is now dwindling, and the government should be able to have a kitty that will be able to help us continue with the work that we have been doing. Otherwise, we will lose out on the good things that have been done. "30 years later, a lot has been achieved. Things have changed a lot. We have seen the HIV prevalence have gone down from, I think, the earlier 15% to now almost 6 or 5%. We have been able to see people talking, not only Dorothy, other persons who are infected with HIV. They talk publicly. We have been empowered. We work like anybody else. We have seen many women, partners who are infected with HIV, give birth to children who are HIV negative, because they have the information and they know how to go about it. So I think I want to say that a lot of work has been done. We need to testing. Testing is very important, because there are people out there who do not know about their HIV status, and they are the people who are highly infectious, because the virus is multiplying a lot in their blood. You see, for us, we are taking the ARVs. At least the virus does not multiply. Like my viral load is undetectable. But somebody who has not started taking ARVs means that the rate of infection that they have is higher as compared to mine. So if everybody knew about their HIV status and probably started taking medication, then that way we'll be able to eliminate HIV/AIDS in this country. And we want to make sure that as people living with HIV, we get to zero new infections and ensure that those who are infected don't die of HIV.